Hey students, this is Miss Douglas, your school librarian here at Daniel High School. Today I'm going to show you how to create an infographic in Canva and then upload it to your Schoology course. So if you want to follow along with me, you can do that. So go ahead and start at your launch pad. So I'm here on my launch pad and I'm going to be proactive and go ahead and open up a few tabs. The first tab I'm going to open up is Schoology. That way I have it up and ready to go so that we can upload it once we finish our infographic. And then the second app that I'm going to open up is what we're going to work through to build and design our infographic, and that's in Canva. It's in the your Launchpad is organized by or alphabetized, so it'll be in the C's for Canva. Or if you're frequently like me and don't search, you can just use the search bar for it and start typing in Canva. All right, so once you are at Canva, yours may look a little bit different than mine because I use Canva every single day and have lots of things going on in mine. So if it doesn't look like mine, that's okay. But Canva is a designing tool that you can design just about anything that you can think of. So one thing that helps me is I like to stay very organized. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, if you look over on this side over here, I'm going to click on this bar to the left. I'm going to click on projects. All right, you'll see that a lot of your classes have automatically been generated because it's linked to all sorts of things and all of that. So if you want to go ahead and add this into the folder that is for your English class, you can do so. Or you can follow along with me and we're going to create a new folder. So I'm going to click this Add New button right here. And I'm going to click Add New Folder. For this folder, I'm going to call it my class. So I'm going to call it English 1. I'm going to put the teacher, ball, and then I'm going to put the year because you don't want to get confused once you're here for a long time and it all changes, okay? So English 1 ball 2024. All right, and if you even want to email your teacher so that she has access to this folder, you can do that as well. But I'm not going to do that because we're going to download it into Schoology. And click continue. Okay, so now that folder is created, I know that I can stay organized when I design an infographic and anything else for English 1 this year can go in that folder as well. So to design an infographic, the first step is you're going to click this create a design button, this purple button right here. So go ahead and click that for me. And you will see that there are tons of things on the side over here of options. You can do really anything. So I am going to start typing in, what would you like to create bar? I'm going to start typing in info. And you'll see that there's two big options that come up, infographic and then infographic unlimited. I'm going to click on the first one, infographic. What this does is it pulls up a blank document, but it's the right quote-unquote sizing for an infographic. And truth be told, there really is no right or wrong size for an infographic because infographics are just how we convey information visually and digitally. But this is a typical standard size of an infographic and probably a really good starting place for your project. But on the left-hand side, you'll see all kinds of templates that you can use. Okay. And so one thing that I suggest is just start playing around with it. I think you may hear me say, if you've ever been down in the library learning commons, sometimes you just have to get in the thick of it, right? So sometimes you just have to get in the thick of it and play around with the graphics. I'm going to click on this one though, because in my head, I know that there are 5 signposts that we're going to be working with, and there's already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or actually, no, you have 6 signposts, I believe. Yeah, so that's a really good way I can tell visually that my signposts will be chunked, right? All right, so just some basics on Canva now that we've established what our template is. You can click this button over here that says elements to add anything. So if you want to add a shape, you can do that, and you can change the color. If you want to add any pictures or anything. You just start typing in what it is that you're looking for. So I really am a fan of the graphics, and I think that, and I know that graphics are a part of your on your rubric for this activity. But graphics should be conveying information to us. So if I'm thinking in my head about an aha moment, what is a graphic that might convey an aha moment? Well, I'm going to say an exclamation point, right? So then I can add any of these graphics, any of these exclamation points. I'm going to add this third one right here, and then I can put that with my aha moments, okay? You can change the entire color of your graphic by clicking on the background color, going up here to the background color and changing it to whatever color you want. You can also make your own color by adding a new color and then moving your cursor to change different colors. All right. Then I'll show you some text features. If you want to copy something, then you can hover over the element and then click this button that says duplicate. And then you've had it copied, and then you can change it. Maybe I want to say this is a notice a note. Then I can have that typed out, delete that, and then drag that up there. Okay. So that's how you can pretty quickly copy. Now, if you want to add a text box, again, you can just copy and paste. So if you need to add another one, you can copy right here, paste that, or you can scroll over to the text on the left side and then add a text box and start typing away. Let's see, memory moment. Then again, you can change the color of that memory moment. So anything like that is, you can add anything that you want. You also Canva will give you some already like formatted fonts and pairing some fonts together. I know for this project, you need to engage in at least 2 fonts. One thing I would remind you of is to make sure that they are readable fonts and it's very easy to read. One thing that's important with an infographic is the ability to zoom in so that you can work on one section at a time. So you can zoom in and out down here where it's set by the page 1 of 1 button. And then a big feature that I use is moving multiple elements at once or grouping those elements together. So for instance, if I want to group all of these things right here, this hands-on science experiment, one thing I can do is I can click individually and click the shift button on my keyboard and click, click, click. Now they're all together. Then I'm going to press this group button and that groups, oh, see, I missed one. And then that groups them all together. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it, which you have to be, sometimes it doesn't catch everything or it catches too much, so just be conscientious when you use this tool, is by dragging starting outside of the infographic. So I'm going to start dragging from the gray area, and then I'm going to make my way into the inside. And then that can pull everything as well. But see, it missed this element, so I'm going to press shift and then group that way as well. But I use that function all the time. That way I can move the size and everything moves with it instead of me having to individually move every single thing. Also, one thing to note is that you can ungroup the items as well, simply by clicking that ungroup button, and then you have all your elements that you can play with individually again. Okay, so really quickly, I'm going to show you an example of a part. I haven't finished it, but of I started designing one for Notice a Note because I wanted you to see kind of all of the elements that we had going on here. And again, mine is not going to look like yours, and that's the beauty of infographics. But I did want you to see a model. So one thing that you will notice, and something that's really important with infographics, is every element that I have here is representative of something, right? If we're going to add an element to our infographic, it needs to convey information. We need to do it it needs to be an intentional decision. So for my Notice a Note, I have design elements here of the liking and loving on the side, because of like on Facebook and Instagram, when you like or love something, that's really similar to what we're doing when we're reading, right? Like we are interacting with the text. So that is kind of what I was going for there, is those interaction buttons on social media. Then I also have this sign with an exclamation point to signify, we're noticing, we're stopping, and then we're going. And then lastly, we call these signposts for a reason, right? And so this is my signpost here on the right side. So all of these elements have a purpose. And you'll notice the title is very large. It is very readable. And I even outlined it in a different brown color so that it would be more clear for the audience to see, because you really want that title to convey to convey information, and for a reader to be able to read it pretty far away, even if they can't read everything else closely. So one thing that's different about my infographic is that I am using examples from Thank You, Ma'am, and the practices that are the practice readings that we did in class, whereas you're going to be using examples from a different text that Ms. Ball gave you. But you'll notice first is that we have a contrast and contradiction. So my first signpost is contrast and contradictions. Here's the title. I gave the definition, and then I gave our anchor question. Why is the character doing that on one side? You'll notice the graphic that I chose to represent contrast and contradictions is this little guy here who is comparing triangles to squares, right? And that's that whole idea of contrasting, and they are contradictions as well. But that way, as a reader, I can very quickly see, oh, I know what this signpost is about to be about simply by looking at that visual element. Over here on the right side, I have an example from Thank You, Ma'am. And then here's my annotation. Here's the big piece, right? Here's where I'm interacting with the text. So I have my example, and then this is like what I would annotate on the side of when I noticed a note it. Instead of turning Roger into the police, Mrs. Jones is going to take him to her apartment so that he can wash his face and eat dinner. Perhaps she feels sorry for Roger. He was a poor teenager with no parents around. So again, I noticed and noted that there was a contrast and contradiction when, instead of calling the police like we would have expected, Miss Luella Bates Washington Jones actually took Roger to her apartment. And then secondly, we move down to the aha moment. So aha moment, the graphic that I chose to represent that are exclamation points. Same thing over here, as I have the definition. I have the anchor question. And then my example from Crash that we looked at in class. And then I also have my annotation, which is the big thing here. So the phrase all of a sudden indicates that something is about to happen. Is the kid going to hurt the other kid all because he is a dork, right? And it's okay if a lot of our interactions are simply questions. We just want to start engaging and close reading the text, okay? So that's the process that I've been working through, and I haven't done this example yet, but that's kind of a good starting point for you for your infographics. And again, you can always go back up here to design. If you decide that you don't like your template, you can pick a different one to start with. I do want to challenge you, though, that even though Canva already has these templates designed, you need to still be interacting with it and changing it to make it your own, okay? So don't just leave the template and then you fill in all the information. This is an opportunity for you to be creative and for you to show what you know. And we really want to make our thinking visible through infographics. So even if I click on this second one and start working here, maybe I go up here and change the color to a green. And then maybe I change my font to Oswald. And then, you can still make it your own and be creative so that you have that creative freedom. In your infographic, you want it to be personal. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you, though, how to download an infographic. So what you're going to do is go up here and click this share button on the right side of your screen. So share, and then there's this button that says download. Now, if your infographic rolls over to 2 pages, I'll show you really quickly. My second page is just where I have some elements. It's just easier for me to work when it's not all on one page, but you don't have to worry about that. But in theory, my infographic would only be this first page. So I'm going to click share, click this download button. Now, the best way to download this image to the computer, like since you're not going to be printing it, is to go up to the PDF standard. Go to File Type, PDF Standard. And again, I'm not going to download both pages. I'm just going to download my page of the infographic. All right. If this becomes a very common download setting, then you can click Save Download Settings. I download many different things. So like, I'll just go ahead and quickly run through some of these. Your PDF standard and PDF prints are best for documents that you're going to be printing. JPEGs and PNGs are pictures, are elements for pictures. And then SVG is something that we don't use often, but it includes animations. And so that one is, you're probably not really ever going to use, honestly, but it's really good if you're designing web. So printing or downloading like the Schoology, I would say PDFs are your best bet, but you can also share a JPEG or PNG as well. So anyways, I'm going to make sure I have PDF standard. I'm going to download the first page and then click this pink download button. Now, I know that y'all's downloads, because you have a Chromebook, go somewhere else, but it is not hard to find on your Chromebook. So I know that y'all are smart enough to be able to take what I'm showing you on this computer and apply it to your Chromebook, because it's pretty similar. And remember, I was being very proactive, so I went ahead and had Schoology pulled up. So what I'm going to do is go to my course, English 1. All right, I'm going to go into the folder, Signpost. Oh, I don't see well, I'm going to pretend that there was already an assignment created to submit your infographics. So it will say something like Q1, notice a note, infographic due. We'll just say they're due on the 13th, and this is a major grade. Okay, so let's say that that's already there. All I'm going to do is click on this assignment, and it's going to look something like this, not quite this way for you, but similar. All right, and then you are going to, oh wait, I need to be in the student view. Give me 1 second. So unfortunately, because I am a teacher, you cannot see the student view of the assignment. But if we look at the assignment that was created, there should be an upload button somewhere for you. And all you're going to do is click that upload button, find your, and you can even click like a downloads button and find your download of your infographic and then upload it to Schoology. So that is how you upload it, and then you should be good to go.